Welcome to Cinema and Suds. I'm Roger Cropley.
And I'm David Jester.
We're here to talk about films
and beer.
We're here today with Spencer Sherry, a filmmaker and also adapter of a Stephen King story. He was part of the Dollar Baby program, just got in under the wire before the program was canceled. He holds the record to be the only person to have made The Monkey as a Dollar Baby, and also had it before Osgood Perkins did. So Spencer is the OG The Monkey adapter and filmmaker. Welcome, Spencer. Glad to have you on the show.
That's a very nice superlative. No one's ever put it that way before. Thank you. I love that. That's going on the resume.
It is true.
The OG Monkey adapter.
I mean, you are the only one to have ever adapted that as a Dollar Baby.
Yeah, snuck in under the wire for the Dollar Baby program and for the Hollywood version. So I must have gotten those rights like less than a year before they came calling for them. So feel very lucky.
Wow, that's awesome. Now we're going to go back to that a little bit later. Let's start by just, some general information. Like, tell us about yourself and what do you do with film work and what do you do on a daily basis?
Sure. Yeah. So for money, I work at a nonprofit art center here in Saratoga Springs, New York, where I live, and I'm the grants coordinator. So we get a bunch of money from New York State every year that I just re-grant to artists in our area. So pretty nice to be able to just, directly support arts and fund some independent programming for a living. But I also produce films. I write and direct occasionally. Been producing a little bit more lately, some just like independent shorts in the area. And through all of those things, that led me to become part of a different nonprofit called the 518 Film Network that connects local filmmakers in our region, the capital region of New York, to each other and supports them. So I now am the president of the board of that organization. So a lot of fingers and a lot of pies, and just trying to kind of promote and support creative pursuits in my community.
That's awesome. Yeah, giving back to your community and also, trying to build up these non-traditional film areas, right? It's so rewarding. It's so different compared to seeing a big film on screen sometimes, because just the local reaction of people that put so much effort into it, it's so rewarding.
It's really, really fun to have when you finish something like that and you have, 100, 150 people that have come to finally see the payoff of, I try in my productions and the things that I, my creative endeavors, to really kind of try to make it a big deal and get a lot of attention and kind of promote and get community support as it's being made and not just after the fact. So by the time we actually get to the premiere or we're screening it locally, the support and the outpouring of people they're great audiences. They react to stuff. They know who made it. So it feels a little bit more, I think, personal, and people open up a little bit more. So, so big fan of trying to, like you said, trying to kind of change the culture of the smaller art scenes, and make it something to be celebrated. So trying to generate some excitement around the very long, hard art form that we've chosen to do.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of a struggle sometimes, huh?
Yeah, no, for sure.
You have to love film in order to want to really do it, unless you're, lucky enough to be in Hollywood or something takes off.
I'm not sure being in Hollywood is very lucky at this point in time, but never had a real desire to go out there. Would love to stay based where I am, and if I was lucky enough to have travel jobs where people put me up for a short amount of time in these nice places, I would go. But I lived in New York for a year and was like, too much, too congested, too much competition. Everyone's jaded and it's expensive. So I like it up here.
Hey, so let's tell me what was the first film that you worked on, never made?
Set It Up, a rom-com with Glenn Powell, who's huge now. Lucy Liu, Zoe Deutsch, Taye Diggs. I caught this weird. I'd never been on a movie set before, professional or independent, and I was going to school at the time at the University of Albany, just my second attempt at college, and was on my way to flunking out twice, and I met an assistant director who came up from New York to talk to the kids, and I hit it off with him and got his email and tried to keep communication, and eventually he was like, you know what, I'm doing this thing. We'll bring somebody green on if I can convince the producers to let me do it. So if I do, and you can be in the city for 7 weeks, I'll give you a job on this movie. Staff you up as a production assistant. I was like,
Wow.
okay. When's it shoot? Finals week? See ya. All right, I'll be there. Yeah. So
Nice.
that was the first movie I ever worked on, and then I lived in New York. I didn't know when I went down there. I was like, is this do you keep getting jobs? Is it easy? Is it because I know it's a gig culture, and so I just talked to the other PAs, and they were like, yeah, just 2 weeks about before the project's over, start talking to other people in other departments and just kind of nudging people and be like, hey, what are you doing after this? And then
Mhm.
find an opening. And I did. And so I ended up being down there for about a year working on big budget stuff. And then just like, I learned how it all ran. I took all that information. It was like, I'd rather be back upstate where there's a little bit more of a community. Thought that I could get more traction up here, and it worked.
So many people I hear all the time will say something like, well, I was just a PA, right? Like I've heard that over the years for so many
Yeah.
people. But the thing is that every position in film, you learn something from every job, no matter, from the bottom all the way to the top. You learn something every time, and you're able to take that and, push that forward into your work, right? So did any of those experiences, help aid you in what you made and what you've done now?
Yeah, I mean, you learn something new every day there because the locations are changing unless you're just in a studio. But even then, every scene's different, every line is different, every shot's different. So it was really cool. I would say that I probably learned less technical filmmaking while I was down there. I'm not proficient with a camera. I couldn't tell you how to light a scene. But I think I took a lot. As like a kind of in a producer role where it's like organizing kind of what not to do a lot of the time, but how to make a set feel good, and people feel like you know, their time's not being wasted, and believe in the project and how to kind of cultivate that environment on a set. So I think that on top of learning what departments were and who's needed and why they're needed, and the kind of the infrastructure of it, you know,
Mm.
and how to apply some of those lessons and really take care of the people that you're working with. Like people, and I work with people that have a decade more experience than me, my cinematographer, production designer, the people that, I made Monkey with in particular. Like these guys have been making movies. They got about, 5 to 10 years age on me, and they've been making it for a lot longer than I have since they were kids. And so it's like I want you here because you know what you're doing, and I trust you and your judgment. But there's also people that are very good to work with, and you have to have that balance, right? Where they also can't feel like they know everything and they don't need to be told what to do by the director. And it's like, so working with good people that are collaborative in that way is really important. So those are the people I intentionally seek out. Right now in my career, there's no money in anything, and so I'm just making shorts and things because I love it and love making these projects, and making this art. And so I get it when you get into bigger budget stuff. There's more stake. There's more money. People need to get paid on the back end. We're trying to distribute these things. I get that adds a different dynamic. But I just haven't been operating in that. So while I'm still in nice indie, I'm just making these for fun for me. Just want to have a good time and work with people that are nice.
It's nice when like a film set, and the people on it feel like more of a family. That way you're going in the same direction. You can all have the same goal. It's not egos and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's a short shooting right now that I referred to. I worked on last night. I'm helping out with today, but they're from the city, and and I met them at a Coney Island Film Festival, and the director's so sweet and she's wonderful, and so she's doing this little short, and she wanted to shoot it upstate, so I helped her find some locations up here and kind of liaisoned kind of the city people coming up. And I was going to try to find hotels for them, and I looked through Airbnbs instead and was like, if you if you guys really want to kind of get that collaborative feeling, you're only here for 2 days and it's run and gun. Like, you don't go to your separate hotel rooms at the end of the night. Like, get a house together. Like wake up together. We did brunch yesterday before the shoot, and I was like, let's all come together, have a meal, meet each other. There's new people, and like let's start changing kind of the culture of what we're putting out there in this experience for everyone.
I agree with you 100%. Like, bringing those people together and making it a collaborative experience makes a huge difference.
Yeah, people have to bring it, right? Like, one of my actors in The Monkey, who plays the younger version of Hal, he's got this little another adorable little actor. He's 7 years old. His name's Jerem, but he played Little Petey, and so every time they were on set together, if they weren't on camera, we weren't rolling, Vaden, the actor who played Hal, would take Jerem to the side and like find a game to do with him, or just try to get that relationship cultivated and playfulness, and try to make him comfortable. And it ended up showing up pretty well on screen by the end of what we were shooting. But people that come and try and recognize the value of that. So people that get it are really great to work with.
You recently did a Dollar Baby. Of course, The Monkey. So how did you learn about that program?
I don't even remember, which is pivotal to the story, because when I heard about it, for some reason I thought it was all of his short stories. It was just like, if it's a novel, then it's you gotta really option it and buy it out. But the short stories, whatever he writes in short form, are up for that program. And so that's what I don't know where I got that in my head. I just misread something, probably in like high school, college, and then eventually, when I was ready to start looking around and seeing what was out there and maybe do the program, I read The Monkey and Skeleton Crew and was like, oh, I think I have a cool idea for this. This is a $70 toy on eBay for the monster, so this could be an affordable thing, and there's some cool drama in here, that's what I like. So I developed it before I went on the website to try to apply, and realized that there's only 20 stories on there out of his 200. So that's that. I don't remember where I heard about it, but it was wrong whenever I did.
But you got it. I mean, you got the approval.
I pestered them. I sat on it for like a year. I wrote it all out. I really, really liked it. And then when I saw that it wasn't an option, I was like, oh, okay, well, it was a good writing exercise, I guess. Worked on some other little shorts, but I kept coming back to it, and I was like, I really, really like the idea for this, and it's manageable. And so about a year after I wrote it, I reached out to his agent. I bought an IMDb Pro account, so you could see all the agents' names and numbers and emails. And I reached out to his agent, and just what did I do? I cold called him. Cold called him and left a very vague voicemail. I was like, my name's Spencer Sherry. I'm a filmmaker from New York, and I want to option one of your client short stories. Call me back. Click. And he did. He called me back and he left a message. I missed it, thankfully, because I don't think the conversation would have been very long if I'd picked up. But he left me his email, and so then I emailed him the pitch, and then he said, "Oh, what? Who are you? No, never mind. Don't go do one of the Dollar Babies." I think the direct quote was, "You don't have enough producer credits that Steve would be familiar with." And which means zero. I hadn't produced anything at that point. I just I PA'd on a rom-com. So then I sent one more email back and was like, I know, I don't actually, because at the time I was asking not to have it as a Dollar Baby. I was just like, how much money? How much does it actually cost to get some of these rights? Because I like the script enough that if I can reverse engineer it. So if I just find out how much money it is, maybe then I could bring my script to producers or production companies and say, I know how much it would cost to get the rights to do this. Do you like my script? Let's go in on it together. So he wouldn't even give me a number. He was like, I'm not even entertaining this conversation. Go do a Dollar Baby. So I came back and was like, I know I don't have money. I'm not, like, I just love the story. I would love to take a swing at it. I would do it for the same contract that you use Dollar Babies. I know it says never ask about other stories, but I would do it. And then I put this veiled, not a threat, but a veiled little monkey wrench in his life, potentially, where I was like, or what you're saying is I just need to talk to more prolific producers and then keep emailing you every time I find a new person that maybe Steve would know. So I just slipped that in at the end as like, oh, because I'm weighing my options. What's the path? And then he never responded, but the next day, Margaret Morehouse sent me a contract for the Monkey Dollar Baby version and was like, good luck. This is a weird thing. I'm not usually supposed to give this out. So,
That's
have
cool.
fun.
Wow.
Congrats. Yeah. And then I sent his agent a thank you email that he also never responded to. So I think he was, it worked and he was happy to be rid of me. So I bet right on that.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was just going to be you had contacted the Dollar Baby program. They said, go ahead. But you actually had some tenacity and you kept pushing.
I poked at some different angles.
Poked the bear and kept going, huh?
Yeah, I tried some different stuff. And it worked.
Yeah.
That's great.
I mean, hey, listen, that was a phenomenal film that you made.
Thanks, man.
I mean, it was really good. Before we dive into that, though, let's crack open a beer.
So what about the monkey really drew you in?
I've always thought that the best horror are really drama stories. And it's more about, well, cheers, everybody. I hear cracking, so.
Cheers.
Cheers. Sláinte.
Sláinte.
Utica Club.
Classic.
Right?
This is a good breakfast beer.
God, this is like the beer my father used to drink when I was a kid. He did like Meisterbrow and Hams. Because that's really all that existed.
It's very smooth. Doesn't have any aftertaste. It's just like just a crisp beer. Yeah.
I love it
Nice.
crisp. It's a good summer beer.
Huh?
So my thing with the monkey was that it's the correct amount of fun and absurd. And you could take it either way. Clearly, you can lean into the comedy or lean into the kind of creepiness of it. The Ice Cream Man was another one that I thought about doing because of that really fun imagery.
That would have been a killer one.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
But I think that really good horror movies, or even like some sci-fi has similar rules where it's not necessarily about the thing, the monster. It's about how it impacts in the decision making of the real people, the characters, and so and how that informs the drama, how they're responding to the evil or the the horror or whatever it is. It's more compelling when the story's about the characters and what they're going through and not about the specific thing, the evil doll, the whatever. So I wanted to balance those two things and have some fun with it. And honestly, it was like I can buy this toy online, and then it just becomes about style and not about special effects or CGI or whatever. So I like practical stuff.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of practical. I think a lot of times CGI kind of pulls you out of the film, right? Like it just rips you out of what you're watching because sometimes it looks too hyper real and sometimes it just looks so fake. So it's like The Thing, the one from
I've never
the 80s.
seen The Thing.
Oh,
What?
It's like top of my list to like I need to circle back and get
Yeah,
it.
man.
And every time people talk about it now because it's so nostalgic, I'm like, oh shit, I gotta get on that and go watch it.
So if you watch that movie and then watch The Thing, the newer one actually is the prequel to that one.
Oh, cool.
And since it's newer, it uses all CGI versus practical. And then, watch the two like back to back and see how you think about both of them. Because for me, I think the newer one just really didn't hit it because of how the CGI is. And it just doesn't hit the same way.
Like you watch something and you know what's real for the most part, and you can and you just feel that as an audience member and what you're experiencing. And so, yeah, we tried to do. I mean, I think all of the effects that we did were practical, and you should use visual effects to color things, like punch things up a little bit and kind of sell different parts of it that aren't necessarily focal, but yeah, just designing a CGI thing and just putting it on screen as the focus is risky.
Roger knows all about that with editing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be very risky. Yeah.
Sure.
Just fix it in post.
Right.
Yeah, that's like the worst saying there is. Fix it in post.
Yeah.
So you also went at this, and I love that you took this direction. You went at this also from the perspective of, how can I make this film look good with the resources I have versus trying to be overly grand at times. And people are like, oh, I'm going to make this like thriller, horror film, sci-fi movie that also branches into like noir for only like $60,000. What can go wrong? Oh, it is feature length too. And you're like, what?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's always just how are you doing that, and that means you're not paying somebody like so
Mm-hmm.
you've left a really important line item out of your budget probably, and usually on the low budget indie stuff that's crew, um, which is tough, and so I paid my crew at like SAG minimum for the actors, and then as best I could for the actual crew. And every production now that I do, like it's very easy, but specifically when you have people and you're in an environment where there are a lot of filmmakers to play the friend card and call in the favor early. And I think that when you're building a budget, you should start from the best case scenario. This is a $25,000 movie, and that means everyone gets paid for the 4 days at full rates or close to it. And then as the money comes in, and you're either meeting your goal or not, or struggling to find the rest of the financing, then if you're in tougher spots, you can start talking to your friends that are on it, and like, hey, what can we work out to make this happen right now, and then we can figure some stuff out on the back end. But yeah, whenever anybody tells me they made this feature movie for $5,000, $20,000. It's just like, okay, so this is everyone. Everyone worked for free, and I hope that you get distribution so that you can pay people back on the back end. But
Yeah, distribution too. That's another whole topic nowadays. Oof.
yeah,
There's
I
some
haven't had to
predatory
worry about it
practices
yet.
out there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's great. Yeah.
Now, okay, you do the monkey. You basically have to, really not struggle, but you really had to try to get that. It wasn't just you wrote a letter and they said sure, right? Like One for the Road was super easy that way.
Sure.
So you go after this. You chose to essentially adapt the story as almost true to the story. Why did you go that route?
Um, I liked the original story. I liked what they were doing with Hal wrestling with the favoritism and the fatherhood, specifically that element, because I don't think that I've never really read anything that dives into that theme, like liking one of your kids more than the other one, and
Mm-hmm.
and, and what you do as they get older and brattier, and so I wanted to keep so I wanted to keep that. That sentiment and that kind of dramatic turn in there. And then, well, as you know, my adaptation actually jumps. I kind of shift the timeline up. So the original story takes place in the 80s and then flashes back to the 50s when Hal was a kid. Um, because I didn't want to do two period pieces, and because there was a lot more gruesome deaths when Hal was younger. I wanted to shift it up, and so all the flashbacks in my movie are from the original story, in the present in the original story, and then I just wanted to see where the characters would be now, and then try to inject my own dramatic personal theme into it, and that's the form of now Petey's an adult, and his kid is coming. He's about to become a father, and that reservation, and like, what does it look like when someone doesn't know that they're ready to be a dad yet, and they don't have a choice? It's happening. She's 9 months pregnant. Like, it's coming, man. You gotta face it. You gotta accept it, and that then naturally just kind of ties into questions about the original story, and like he saw his father play favorites. He saw his father not always be a great parent, and so that fear is very real. And in my version, the brothers are now the one brother, Dennis, is completely estranged from the father. Um, so, this is just a normal guy who's seeing these rifts in his family and seeing the mistakes that have been made, and he's very, very concerned and preoccupied with not making the same mistakes and being ready for the thing. And so so it all kind of, I didn't want to say it wrote itself, but a lot of the themes, a lot of puzzle pieces fit very neatly together when thinking about kind of the subtext of what the movie was going to be about.
So you obviously went and saw the new version of the monkey.
I did.
So
I did. We did a double. I was not going to let that opportunity slide by. So we did. I'm have become friends over the last couple of months with a local theater owner who's bought up a couple of the bigger theaters as they've been selling off. And so I came to him and was like, hey, I want to do my own double feature, because Lord knows they're not going to answer me if I try to weasel in on their turf. So I was like,
Right.
let's so he let us do it. We showed my movie, which is an hour long. And then we took a little half-hour break, and then we all went in to see the new one. And so we had a crowd. I think there was about 120 people there for mine. And
That's
then
awesome.
and then a lot of people ended up staying for the second one, and I'm not sure they knew what it was going to be like. I knew going in it's more grotesque, over the top, extreme Final Destination violence, but I think that a lot of people were surprised by how graphic it was. But it was great. So we threw our own back-to-back double feature. It was the first time I had seen it. It was like a week after it came out. So that was part of the gimmick. It's like, come see my movie, and then you get to watch me watch the new version.
Did you happen to have any like conversation or anything with the audience afterwards to gauge what they thought of the two films or comparison?
Yeah, I mean, everyone left the theater because it's a comedy. Their movie is just straight up comedy. It's absurdist comedy. They lean into it fully, and it's so over the top. It's like like Tarantino violence, where you're just it barely registers as serious, and you're just kind of enjoying it for the blood sport. And so everyone left just like, that was ridiculous. That was so funny. They have, I assume that you guys have seen the movie. They have that really,
Yes.
really hard punctuation at the final shot of the film that just leaves you laughing. And so it was great. And the films are very different. They have got some overlap, some similarities between them. I think the main kind of takeaway, this kind of symbolism and the theme of what the monkey kind of represents and what we all have to learn from it was similar, but the stories are just so different, and the tone is very different. And so it was a really nice. A lot of people said that it was a really great juxtaposition. Both movies are relatively short, so it wasn't like anyone was getting fatigued. No, it was cool. It was really cool to see both of them back to back like that.
You do a really good job at self-promoting, getting your work out there, and also, bringing it to an audience. So is that something that you think that filmmakers are missing sometimes? Like some of these younger filmmakers that do their work, they send it to film festivals hoping to get that like little reward in their email, and then they miss out on this opportunity of like local filming and like local shows. Like, do you think that there's a market for that out there to get people to get their films out and seen?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's a lot of what I've been trying to do. I mean, I was very fortunate that my first film ever is the Stephen King adaptation, and so it was very weird recognizing as we were moving through those early stages that like, oh, there's a built-in audience already for my first movie, and so how do we tap into that, and how do we get people connected to it early? I tell people now, I'll get asked sometimes by local people. I'm now known in the area for doing this. How to help kind of market and promote their stuff. And so I tell people all the time, it's like, find the unique hook in your movie, whether it's visual or thematically, and then you can kind of branch out from there. So for this, it was Stephen King and Monkey and the toy, and that's a really easy visual to play around with. The next film that I produced was about magic. So that's a really fun niche thing that you can play around with a lot with the promotion of. I got a custom deck of cards just for the movie, and then I learned a couple card tricks. And while I was bartending, I would hit people with magic tricks, and the cards would have QR codes on their faces. So when the end of the trick was pick a card, this is your card, and you end up with the card that you picked at the beginning, I could say keep it. Keep the card and that QR code. This is the business card for the movie, and then you can keep it. And now you leave with an experience, having like someone just did magic for you at a bar, instead of just handing out business cards. So things like that. So I tell people to try to find the hook and yes, and make a bigger deal about it. The cinematographer, his name's Jim Powers, who I worked with on Monkey and Anomaly. Same guy. He's been making movies since he was a kid. Been in the area doing it. Worked on a lot of independent stuff. And when we did the premiere of Anomaly, the local premiere of Anomaly, in the same Victorian music hall that we shot it in. And so it was this cool. It's early. I need more beer. I need more thinking fluid.
We're almost there.
Yeah. Anyway, it was a very a one time like think what can you do with your film that only works right now in this moment. We made a movie in this music hall. We have an opportunity to premiere it in the same music hall. It's like Inception. It's like music hallception. It's like in the movie inside the movie. Sometimes you're sitting in a seat in this music hall, and it's the exact same perspective that's on frame in the film. And so finding new things like that to do. But Jim, the cinematographer, I had a bunch of people up on stage because it's a short film, and so we're like, how do we kind of pad out this programming? Let's talk to people. Let's interview people that were part of the movie and go behind the scenes. And so Jim was like, it's really, I've been doing this for 10, 15 years locally, and we do a lot of that. We just send it off and nobody ever sees it. And he was like, it's really cool that you're making an event out of this and making a big deal out of the local stuff that's getting made, and demanding that your community becomes a part of it and sees it. So yeah, I think that if you're an independent and you're making stuff, it's tempting to and glamorous to send it off to all the big film festivals and travel around with it. If you have the money, I don't know how people pay to go to all this stuff, but don't forget about your locals at home, because because I'm sure you've got hundreds, if not thousands, of people right in your community that if you can get in the door early, you have a built-in audience, for the rest of your career that you could do at home. So, yeah, I'm definitely more in that vein of things. I like building that local culture.
Yeah, like you were saying, there's a population out there that in your community that would be so stoked and so excited to know that someone they know in their community made a film and they want to see it.
And they're the best audience because they know you, and they're more and usually your local people. Like my favorite compliment that I got when I brought this back home, which is like Oneonta, Cooperstown, New York, tiny, and I grew up in a tiny town outside of those towns. But I brought it home, and I think a lot of people were like, okay, let's do Spencer's movie, it's a little home video. And then a lot of people at the end of it were like, you made a real movie. That's a real movie. It's like, that's my favorite compliment.
Well, and also, let's not forget that you did something I think very unique and very different. You went to basically PBS.
You mean up in Maine Public?
Yeah, I mean that's a branch of PBS, is MPBN.
Yeah, so they were great. So I didn't go to them. I went to Maine, because I knew that the Magic Lantern Theater in Bridgeton was that was where they premiered The Shining. The kind of like unofficial premiere of The Shining was there. It's Stephen King's favorite movie theater. I know he lives nearby, or at least he did. He had a house nearby, and so someone tipped me off to that, and I emailed them and was like, hey, I have this thing. It's pretty cool. It's free. I can't charge money for it. I can't profit from it. But if you're open to doing just a free public screening of it, I would love to come up with it. I'll bring my lead actor. We'll make a thing of it. And they were like, sure, bring it on. So we went up there, and someone from Maine Public was in the audience. And then they reached out to me because we did that I think that was in June. And then right around August, Maine Public reached out and said we would love to get this in our like Halloween rotation. We love to put this on TV for Halloween. And I was like, I think this is fine. That would be wonderful. It's nonprofit television. I think that technically counts.
Mm-hmm.
So so that was very cool. And I still see people. Somebody came to the screening that we did the double feature last weekend and was like, I saw it on Maine Public TV. That was the first time I saw it, and now I want to see it on the big screen. So it's really cool to know that it's out. It's just out there. I get people that email me now that the new one's out too. I get people emailing me or Facebook messaging me all the time to be like, how can I see it? How can I watch it? I want to see this now that the new one's out. So it's cool. It's just surreal.
Yeah, and I think that's a testament to the quality of work, for your film. And, it was so well done. It was, it's like I've watched a lot of these Dollar Babies, and it's amazing because so many people put so much effort and love and, drive into these films because, there's something behind it other than themselves, right? It's like there's a body of fans, with Stephen King's work that you just don't want to piss off. Right? I mean,
no pressure.
I know that was
something at top of my mind too, where it's like, man, I'm changing the story considerably, and it's like it's a popular Stephen King story. I'm changing it, and I don't know how attached people are to some of these characters, but I do what I got to do to tell the story. So I hope people like it. But no, the response has been humbling and positive and really, really cool. I'm very proud of what we ended up pulling off. So I appreciate the kudos and oh my God, and doing it at Salem Horror too with your guys' great film and Julia's and is it Bolin? Right?
Yeah.
Bolin. That was a great group of people to showcase that stuff with.
Yeah.
That was a ton of fun. You guys, everyone crushed it. I felt like that was aces the whole way through.
It's been an experience with the Dollar Babies. And I mean, Roger edited One for the Road, and it's the network of people that has
I was going to ask you how you fit into the mix. So you're the editor? You edit? Are you just post-production on things, or do you
I just do post-production. I met him on a plane. I was going to LA to wrap up like 2 weeks of editing on a film. And he sat beside me like one seat over, and I was like, "Are you working on a script?" And he was like, "Yeah." So we started talking, and then I ended up editing the film that he was writing at that point.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so, and I mean, like it was so like serendipitous because Roger's like finishing. I mean, it was the film he was finishing up was Ray Liotta's last film,
right? Yeah,
I mean, it was.
Oh shit! Okay.
Yeah. It's like crazy. So it's like how these connections came together and how many people are in, are out of Hollywood, right? Or out of LA, but working in the industry in different ways. And I mean, that's the thing is you're making phenomenal work upstate New York. And, people just don't think of upstate New York. It's like we have to kind of like destroy these traditional views of where films need to be made.
Mm.
And again, like I cannot understate the community element of things. Like, in New York City, and it's not necessarily, it's not anybody's fault. Like, it's just expensive to be down there. And so you go to a business and you say, "Hey, coffee shop, can we shoot in here? Maybe like, one day this week." And they're like, "Okay, well, if we close, that's $8,000 in revenue for the day that we don't get, plus our $1,000 in rent. So sure, you can rent us out for $10,000 and you can shoot all you want." And it's like, you can't do that. And then that's one location. But up here, you tell people that you're working on a film, specifically a Stephen King film, and they're like, "Oh my God, amazing!" Like, yeah, I would love for you to shoot at my motel or my crematorium. Do you want us to turn the oven on for you? Like, you want to see the fire? It's like, yes, we do. We'll get a shot of the fire. Thank you very much. So all of those, I think we had about 13 locations in Monkey, and one of them cost any money at all. All of the other ones, and the impressive ones were all like, "This is cool. Yeah, I'll love to support. Yeah, just don't break anything." But
I think that happens here in Maine too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does quite a bit.
Yeah, you just have to. People are excited to be a part of things, and so and they can afford to be a part of things. Whenever I meet people at these film festivals and we tell them how much we make our movies for, and pay people, and like people are always totally blown away at the production value, and the ability to do it. They're like, that's how much it cost, and everybody had a good time. It's like, yeah, no, everyone loved it. People really want to be a part of it. So
Yeah.
it's nice. It's just nice being a part of an artistic community.
Now, when it comes to the artistic community, did most of the actors come from your local area?
Almost all of them. So I want to say we had 18 roles, 18 speaking or featured roles, and I think only 4 people were from out of town. 3 from the city. One of whom, Lily Moran, who played Melissa in my movie. So the lead actress in my film was the stand-in for the lead actress on Set It Up, the first film I ever worked on. So that was a really cool full circle moment, getting to bring her back up and work with her. And then Mark, who plays Pete, and Vaden, who plays young Hal. I got off of Actors Access. I auditioned them in New York. And then Cortland Jones, who plays Nurse Martha. She's from Boston area, and she knew a producer that I had on my film. They'd worked together, and she had thrown out her name, and she had auditioned for Melissa, the lead actress role, and I was like, she's too funny. We got to put her in a comedy role, and so if she'll come out for a smaller part, and she was like, yeah, whatever. So she came out, and that was great. But everyone else was all locally cast people. Some of whom I'd met previously through just going to film events and seeing other people's movies. But a lot of people were just, I met through putting out local casting calls.
Let's crack open that second beer. We're going to move on to that Omegang.
My hometown. So I was so excited to see Omegang on your list of beers because I grew up here, basically. This is my favorite brewery. They do concerts at their brewery all the time. I've seen some amazing shows there. And I also love Belgian ales, probably because of Omegang. They pretty much exclusively make Belgians.
I love their beer. I actually love Belgian beer. Absolutely. I go to a beer bar in Portland called Novari Res, which is based off of a beer bar in Bruges.
I've been there. I went there. We went up to Portland to do Monkey. This Maine Public asked me to come back and do like a live screening. And that was the number one place that everyone said you need to go is Novari Res. So we went there, and I was like, I would live there if we lived in Portland.
I have a chalice there. I had to drink 242 different beers around the world and so I have this big chalice, and they like etch your name onto it, and then they etch like a saying.
Oh my God, I wish I knew that. I would have looked for it.
They do a big ceremony. It's actually locked in a vault, so you have to have a key, and like you unlock the vault to go in. Yeah. It's been their shtick since 2009.
Cool. But that's what we were just talking about. Like, that's awesome. That's an awesome shtick. It's making a big deal out of something. If you're coming to this bar and you're spending 240 beers times, let's say, $10, do that math. It's like you're spending that much money. Make your patrons feel engaged and special and cool, and do something. Like, just look for those opportunities to make it a bigger deal than it is.
I mean, you get your chalice, they like announce it to the whole bar, they ring the bell, they make you come back there, you pour your first beers into your chalice, and then you drink all day for free. As much as you want. No one's cutting you off that night.
Well, that's dangerous.
This is good. This
it's very good.
Blonde ale. Oh, 9.5%. Damn. Okay.
Yeah, I thought that maybe this might be the highest ABV, but it's the transition of flavor, I think, is more important.
Yeah.
This gives you that mid podcast boost of the 10%.
And I'm a fan of gnomes.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. See,
I like gnomes.
I didn't see any gnomes.
Roger's always been a gnome man. Everyone says. Yeah.
Travelocity gnome. Those were the best commercials. Those were really good.
Has there ever been a gnome horror movie?
I think there is, actually.
Is there?
I think it's called There's Something Living in My Barn. And it has Justin... no, not Justin Long. I think it's called There's Something Living in My Barn, and they moved to Norway, and there's gnomes in the barn.
A gnome movie does sound very Justin Long-esque. It sounds like Justin Long fodder.
So
after you've done the adaptation of that story. Is there another story that you'd like to do?
I always wanted to do Duma Key.
Mm-hmm.
I read it a couple years ago, and it's got the same thing. This is a drama, and it's a really good drama, but it's got just this weird little supernatural element to it that starts, informing a lot of the behavior and so it's. And I love painting. I love visual art. I thought it'd be really cool to work with an artist to create a lot of the visual media for the film. And it's another thing that seems very accessible to make. It's like, this is a drama, and other than probably, let's be real, miniature or CGIing a pirate ship out in the bay, pretty easy to make it creepy and scary with just painting and some wet drowned ghosts. But yeah, I really, again, that's my jam. I haven't really read anything or written anything that is straight up just a horror slasher that I've felt really compelled or drawn to. I really like stuff that has grounded characters and mining emotion and drama out of a story. I think that makes it more interesting when the supernatural things interact with it than just having, because their monkey, Osgood's monkey, was kind of like that, where it's just like, this is, by the end of the movie, we're in full blown absurdity mode, and it almost doesn't matter anymore the kind of original pathos that you were going for. Like, this is just fun. Turn your brain off and watch the death and colors and shapes. It was. It was great. But I really like stories that can marry those two things nicely. Because we're, at the end of the day, like, you either want people to laugh or you want people to cry, kind of, right? Or you want people to feel something. And so if you're not doing a straight up comedy and you're not doing a straight up horror where you just want people scared the whole time, it's like, then you kind of have to say, okay, well, then how do we make them feel the thing? How do we make them relate to some emotions here, while using those other things as devices? So so I like Doomickey. I would love to take a swing at Doomickey if you ever let me. Maybe if my life comes down, I'll write it on spec and
there you go.
Shop it around and see if anybody cares.
Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you on the next episode of Cinema and
Suds.